is one of the things that I personally have struggled with in my journey is that when you're raised in this city, I was raised in this city since I was 7. I was an immigrant and moved here during the Iranian Revolution and was here since I was 7. There was no access to what I would call true Orthodox Judaism, or what we had in Iran, which was basically orthodoxy, but in a conservative fashion, so to speak. But the core of the Judaism that was taught was true. It aligned with orthodoxy. Here, we had a conservative temple that's one of the biggest conservative temples in America, and that was where most Persian Jews flocked. And what was taught at that temple was that Torah is not applicable to all the ages. There are certain aspects of Torah that are not applicable to modern times, which, from what I understand, is absolutely untrue. So what I did on my path was move towards Buddhist teachings, because Buddhist teachings to me felt like little sort of tangents of what Kabbalah taught, the little bit that I could understand as a young person. And the difference, what I found once I hit 40, and not before that, was that the difference between Buddhism, which seeks ego relinquishment to the point of non-existence, is different than Jewish belief in ego relinquishment, where there is a me, but that me becomes one with a higher being. So you are consistently in service mode of Hashem in the way that it is actually dictated, but you are not losing yourself. And one example of that for me was that when I would, there's been moments in my life where I've achieved or done a great healing or helped in someone achieving something good in their life, and they would say, "Aren't you so proud of yourself? Wow, you did this. And I would just sit there and say, this is all Hashem. This is all Hashem. And there would be zero sense of self in that. But once I really understood the differentiation between what I had learned for the first 25 years and what I've learned since then in the next 25 years, was that there's a little sense of self, but even that self comes from, the self that matters comes from Hashem, but it is a self. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about this idea of ego relinquishment in the Jewish way from you.
To put it in practical terms, it is so much easier to admit that I am wrong than to admit that you are right. Is that not true? There's no comparison. People who are perfectly comfortable and able to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I made a mistake. I was wrong. I'm so stupid. They can do that. And it doesn't hurt their ego. But to admit that somebody else is right, they can't.
Wow.
Their ego will not allow it. The self-effacement in Buddhism is I am nothing, I am wrong, my needs, my wants are nothing. Why? Because I'm nothing. So I'm wrong. And who's right? Nobody. The universe, or whatever that means.
Right, whatever that means, exactly.
So there is no you're right in Buddhism. There's I'm wrong.
Wow.
Fascinating thing is that most of Buddhism and Hinduism, the whole Eastern philosophy, came from Avraham.
Wow.
Avraham, after Sarah passed away, married Keturah, right? And they had children. And Avraham gave them, the children of Keturah, he gave them a gift and sent them to the east. They moved to the east. The original philosophy in the East was called Brahman, or Ibrahim, or Abraham.
Wow.
So
Wow,
what Avraham gave his children is his philosophy before God spoke to him. For 75 years, Avraham was an incredible philosopher, believed in God, taught the belief in God, sacrificed his life for the belief of God, but he had never heard from God. So it was all, I'm wrong. I'm not it. I'm not the answer.
Wow.
I am not the end. But what is? Don't know. When God came and said, I need. You're right, it's not your need, it's my need. He said, okay, you guys take the philosophy and go to China. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wow.
And we are going to continue the study of what God needs, and that will be Judaism. So the humility that we're talking about is not I'm nothing. I'm here for him. And this is really, even the Orthodox world, even some people who study Kabbalah, miss the point. They're afraid of it, actually. The entire point of Judaism is, you think you need? Your needs are petty compared to God's need. And that's why we are very willing to serve him and do what he needs, because his need is awesome. My need is sometimes embarrassing.
Isn't the beauty of that in that in serving a higher force and our creator, we are actually actualizing our own potential? It is through that journey of serving our higher
Yes.
creator.
That's our highest potential, that we can be there for him. There's nothing higher. But here's a really beautiful thought. One of the unique things about a human being that separates us from the animal, the vegetable, and the mineral. Listen to this. The nature of a human being, not religion, nature. The nature of a human being is that he is never content being human. The animal is content to be an animal, just don't interfere. The vegetable is content to be a vegetable, just don't interfere. Don't step on me. And the mineral is perfectly happy to be a mineral, just don't crush me. The human being does not find contentment in being human. In other words, I have to become something more than I was created to be.
Wow.
But what is more? So in some desperate ways, human beings try to become animals, because I'm not content being human. So I want to run like a deer in Olympic competition. I want to fly through the air like a bird. I want to swim like a fish. We can't quite catch up. The deer is still faster, and the eagle is still,
Wow.
So that's not the direction to go in. What do we do to be something other than human? Those are the mitzvot.